Officer's field log transcription begins 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 37 seconds according to recovered bodycam metadata. Audio partially corrupted, but intelligible enough for departmental review. Responding to 911 call from rural sector B. 17 regarding repeated disturbances near condemned service tunnel. Dispatch notes reference prior complaints about movement inside restricted zone, though maintenance confirms full lockdown since 1998. I proceed on foot due to debris blocking cruiser access while noting abnormal temperature. Drop inconsistent with seasonal conditions and slight metallic odors similar to oxidized wiring or long-cooled blood. Bodycam records faint rhythmic impacts ahead, though no construction authorized for this grid. I announce presence per protocol, but sound is swallowed by the corridor as if acoustics shift with each step. Log indicates first anomalous interference at 2 hours, 18 minutes and 9 seconds when static sweeps left audio channel and frame begins micro-warping at edges like lens pressure, though hardware pass. Showed no faults earlier that shift. I locate service tunnel entrance chained and padlocked, yet chain lies taut, as if recently forced outward then repositioned. Bolt is cold enough to fog the lens when inspected closer. I unlatch secondary latch using bolt cutters as per hazard entry and proceed inside, noting multiple shoe prints leading inward but none returning. Prints differ in depth, stride, and sole pattern suggesting at least 3 individuals entered at different times, though no missing. Persons filed this week. Tunnel walls coated in mineral runoff that pulses faintly when light passes as if absorbing illumination. At 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 44 seconds bodycam captures blurred silhouette retreating deeper. Movement inconsistent with standard human gait, showing momentary stutter like frames missing between each step. I call out, but voice echoes in irregular delays like room geometry is changing. Internal comms with dispatch degrade. Only fragments return, mostly distorted breathing not matching any. Operator profile. Deeper section reveals emergency locker forced open containing outdated maintenance, suit torn along spine as if removed in haste or split from inside. Residual heat signature minimal, but present though system confirms no active ventilation. I detect repeating sound resembling tapping in sequences of 3, then 5, then 8 like escalating code, but origin shifts each time light changes angle. Air pressure begins oscillating gently, causing involuntary inner ear popping. Camera picks up low vibration along floor, plating resembling footfall, but pattern doesn't match bipedal locomotion. Further progress reveals narrow junction where walls bear fingernail, scoring at shoulder height, and parallel marks lower to ground like something crawled, dragging its limbs. At 2 hours, 25 minutes, and 12 seconds bodycam records sudden temperature spike ahead, accompanied by audio artifact, resembling layered whispers, though analysis later shows no linguistic structure, only overlapping frequencies. Approximating human resonance. Tunnel ends abruptly at maintenance chamber sealed, since early decommission, yet door stands open by several inches despite rust accumulation implying force applied from interior. I push entry slightly, and hinge shriek echoes, impossibly long, stretching several seconds beyond physical action. Chamber inside shows tools scattered in radial pattern, all pointing towards central drain, where dark residue pools, though lab later identifies substance as neither human nor animal. Floor around drain exhibits circular abrasion marks as if heavy object rotated repeatedly while anchored by unseen weight. My flashlight dims though battery indicator remains full. Shadows behave incorrectly, leaning toward me rather than away from light source. I record final verbal note stating intention to inspect subdrain panel, though transcript becomes unstable. At 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 3 seconds camera captures elongated reflection in standing liquid, showing figure behind me, though thermal scan shows no presence. Reflection turns its head, slightly independent of my movement, revealing jaw displaced laterally beyond anatomical limits. I pivot instantly, but corridor behind remains empty, though audio registers rapid retreating steps moving upward across ceiling surface. I report immediate threat and step back toward exit, but chamber door slams shut with force inconsistent with rusted hinges causing dust cascade like exhalation. Light flickers and whisper frequencies converge, forming low sustained tone of vibrating spine. Drain cover shifts a few millimeters, releasing upward draft, carrying same metallic odor, now much stronger. Tone rises. Camera shakes, as if something presses from beneath floor. Final clear frame shows distortion crawling up wall like liquid. Shadow reaching toward lens before feed fractures into vertical streaks. Last audible word in log is my request for unit backup, though timestamp freezes 5 seconds before signal cuts entirely and GPS data blanks, as if device removed from physical space rather than destroyed. No subsequent trace recovered despite full sweep of tunnel and surrounding grid. This transcript, reconstructed from partial data fragments found hours later outside sector perimeter, though officer location remains unconfirmed. Bodycam fragment resumes from corrupted cluster labeled 2 hours, 31 minutes, and 22 seconds, though forensics indicate actual time several minutes later. Signal reappears abruptly, as if device reinserted into physical environment mid-movement. Visuals show officer breathing heavily. Lens angled toward floor, plating now warped outward in subtle convex swellings like metal responding to internal pressure. Officer states difficulty maintaining balance due to low-frequency vibrations rising through boots, though seismograph. Later recorded no activity in region. Corridor lights, previously dead, flicker sequentially in reverse direction as if something moves ahead, drawing power rather than supplying it. Officer attempts comms, but returns only fragmented playback of his own earlier logs repeating out of order, some containing statements never recorded in primary transcript, including mention of 3 figures watching from behind grate, though no such figures visible on footage. At 2 hours, 32 minutes, and 10 seconds, shadow drifts across far. Wall without identifiable source. Motion pattern akin to slow breathing. Officer advances despite clear distress, citing procedural necessity to verify presence of trapped civilians implied by prints observed earlier, though prints ahead now multiplied exponentially, covering entire passage floor pointing inward, as if numerous individuals walked in a chamber, yet none returned. Air becomes dense enough that exhaled vapor remains suspended several seconds. Audio picks up persistent scraping overhead, like many limbs probing metal supports in synchronized pulses. Officer's flashlight beam curves slightly at edges like refracted through invisible field, suggesting electromagnetic distortion. At approximate midpoint of corridor, camera captures fleeting form clinging to ceiling surface, moving with insect-like articulation, but frame tears vertically, removing exact profile. Officer freezes, then trains light upward, yet ceiling appears bare, except for condensation, forming shapes reminiscent of stretched handprints slowly evaporating. He proceeds to secondary junction previously documented as sealed in municipal blueprints, but now open by nearly a foot, revealing stairwell, descending at angles steeper than regulation code. Interior coated in black residue that absorbs light without reflection. Officer verbally notes draft carrying vocal-like modulation, though spectrograph later reveals pattern aligned with reversed human respiration. Descent begins 2 hours, 34 minutes, and 57 seconds and lasts longer than. Geometric depth of structure should allow, indicating spatial inconsistency. Steps elongate subtly under camera perspective, though officer's stride remains unchanged. After estimated 30 seconds, stairwell terminates at utility level, bearing outdated signage referencing departments discontinued decades earlier. Floor littered with personal belongings, including keyrings, phones, torn fabric, each arranged in concentric rings around large central hatch, pulsing rhythmically as though responding to officer's presence. Hatch metal thins momentarily forming bulge rising like blister before subsiding. Officer circles perimeter, noting no bodies, yet numerous signs of sudden abandonment, including spilled coffee, still steaming though date, on cup sticker reads 6 years prior. At 2 hours 36 minutes and 8 seconds audio spikes with sharp metallic cry originating from above, causing officer to spin back towards stairwell, now pitch black, though earlier light source should remain active. Darkness advances up steps like fluid filling volume. Edges retracting minutely when illuminated but resuming approach when light shifts away. Officer steps back to maintain distance, yet darkness stops at threshold as if contained. Attention returns to hatch when slow, clicking issues from beneath floor in. Irregular intervals matching earlier tapping sequence. Officer kneels to inspect mechanism, but thermal camera malfunctions replacing imagery with skeletal-like silhouettes superimposed over real environment. Each standing motionless around him, though, when officer pauses breathing silhouettes tilt heads slightly, as if acknowledging being observed. Silhouettes vanish abruptly when he touches latch. Hatch vibrates, violently forcing officer to retreat as bolts unscrew themselves rotating. Counterclockwise without mechanical driver. Gap widens releasing gust of air dense, with particulate matter reflecting like ash. Within gap, no visible floor, only descending black void, emitting soft glow resembling distant bioluminescence, shifting in rhythmic patterns like heartbeat. Officer radio's final coherent message. I hear them below. Multiple. Moving upward fast. Though analysis indicates message broadcast only locally not received by dispatch. Vibrations intensify. Camera tremor increases. Faint limb-like forms begin emerging from gap, extending upward with unnatural joint articulation reaching for hatch rim. Officer backsteps towards stairwell, but encroaching darkness now blocks escape. Surface bubbling like living membrane. Last footage shows officer raising flashlight as both phenomena converge. Beam bending sharply toward void as if pulled. Audio ends on rising layered vocalization approximating his name, though filtered through multiple tones not matching human anatomy. Feed. Cuts leaving only static and residual heartbeat-like pulses continuing several seconds after visual loss. Recovered peripheral sensor logs begin 2 hours, 41 minutes, and 3 seconds, though exact continuity uncertain. Bodycam feed does not fully resume, but intermittently transmits single-frame bursts every few seconds as if trapped between states of signal. First burst shows officer in narrow vertical shaft, previously uncharted in municipal plans, suspended several meters above unknown floor surface, though harness absent and body orientation suggests gravitational pull fluctuating. Shaft walls composed of interlocking metal. Plates shifting subtly like diaphragms contracting to slow rhythmic pattern inducing lens warping. Officer's breathing rapid but controlled as he attempts to brace against walls though hands pass partially through surface for split second implying material phase variance. Audio fragment carries faint multi-voiced, murmuring, repeating incomplete phrases in cadence similar to his own earlier reports suggesting mimicry. Second burst, at 2 hours, 41 minutes, and 26 seconds captures sudden lateral distortion, pulling officer sideways as if gravity vector reorients 90 degrees. New orientation reveals side corridor beyond shaft opening. Corridor lined with graffiti-like markings in dried mineral compound depicting silhouettes with elongated limbs clustered around central ring resembling the hatch symbol. Markings appear fresh despite location's isolation. Footsteps echo faintly, though no visible source. Officer moves toward corridor, though movement irregular, as if spatial geometry shifts under each step. Third. Burst at 2 hours, 41 minutes, and 39 seconds shows corridor stretching unnaturally long ahead, yet shrinking behind like mouth closing. Distant figure appears at far end backlit by pulsating white radiance. Figure stands motionless, but limbs subtly oscillate independent of torso. Reflection on floor reveals second figure mimicking first with slight delay. Officer attempts verbal contact, yet audio returns only reversed version of his speech. Fourth burst at 2 hours 41 minutes and 52 seconds reveals figure, now significantly closer despite officer. Not advancing. Proximity shows skin texture like dried clay, with fissures widening to reveal inner glow. Figure's head tilts at angle exceeding vertebral limits. Reflection beneath figure fractures spreading cracks across corridor floor radiating outward. Officer steps back raising flashlight, but beam refracts splitting into 3 separate rays, illuminating wall glyphs, now shifting positions like reacting to motion. Faint scraping begins behind officer. Next frame, 2 hours 42 minutes and 4 seconds, shows cluster of limb-like extensions emerging from wall surface. Behind him, each joint rotating silently. Movement extremely slow but persistent. Officer attempts retreat into shaft. Entrance but shaft now sealed by translucent membrane, pulsating in synchrony with corridor glow. Membrane surface displays faint imprint of officer's own face, screaming though audio registers no sound. Fifth frame, at 2 hours 42 minutes and 19 seconds, shows corridor, contracting rapidly forcing officer closer to figure which now extends hand with fingers branching into smaller segments, each tipped with point of light. When hand nears officer's chest, bodycam glitches, producing negative image frames showing his silhouette. Filled with swirling mist moving independently from physical outline. Next burst 2 hours 42 minutes and 32 seconds depicts environment shifting abruptly into large chamber with no transition. Chamber contains dozens of maintenance lockers arranged in circular formation, all doors open revealing empty interiors except for suspended strips of fabric hanging like molted skin. In center stands large cylindrical apparatus rusted, yet humming faintly. Glyphs crawl across surface, reorganizing into patterns resembling officers. Badge ID. Officer stands trembling but functional, aiming flashlight at cylinder. 6 frame, 2 hours 42 minutes and 47 seconds captures sudden ignition of internal light within apparatus casting long shadows that move contrary to officer's position. Shadows converge forming ring around him, tightening with each pulse. Chamber floor vibrates, producing subharmonic tone affecting camera sensor, causing rolling bands. 7th burst 2 hours 42 minutes and 59 seconds shows officer collapsing to one knee clutching side, as if struck by sudden pressure. Wave. Shadows elongate reaching him, though contact point cannot be seen. His mouth opens in silent scream, while image exposure spikes widening frame edges. 8th burst 2 hours 43 minutes and 12 seconds. Last coherent image. Shows officer being pulled backward towards cylinder, though feet drag leaving luminous streaks that fade instantly. Silhouette behind him appears identical to him, but moves with inverted gestures. Chamber lighting collapses inward, melting shadows in a single vertical line, then extinguishing fully. After this point, camera transmits only low-frequency pulses matching earlier heartbeat-like rhythm, except gradually slowing over next 6 minutes until flatline. Unclassified after-action reconstruction begins from final cluster labeled 2 hours, 49 minutes, and 55 seconds, though forensic timestamp drift suggests true time may differ by several minutes. Bodycam reignites without visual feed, transmitting only depth map telemetry normally disabled on patrol units, yet now active as if overridden by external signal. Depth map outlines irregular space, expanding and contracting in smooth cycles like lung tissue, though scale indicates chamber tens of meters across. Faint outline. Matching officer's posture appears suspended midair, limbs extended slightly as if held by unseen supports. Telemetry shows his heartbeat present, but disordered following spiraling waveform inconsistent with human physiology. Sudden spike at 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 12 seconds corresponds with emergence of additional silhouettes, 12 in total, arranged in circle around central elevated platform. Silhouettes exhibit bipedal form but lack distinct anatomical edges. Outlines blur repeatedly, as if rendered incompletely. Each silhouette emits intermittent bursts of contour data, resembling human faces morphing in and out of coherence, among which officers' own features appear 3 times though orientation never matches physical body position. Audio band activates unexpectedly, capturing series of low-frequency pulses spaced evenly like communication protocol. Pulses form repeating sequence approximating ratio 3:1:3:2 corresponding to earlier tapping pattern observed in tunnel. Chamber resonance rises causing telemetry to distort until depth map displays chamber elongated vertically far beyond structural limits of facility. At 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 39 seconds, officer's silhouette rotates 90 degrees, though physical logs do not show struggle. Motion appears externally imposed. Additional silhouettes converge inward, raising arms in synchronized arc resembling ritualistic lift. Telemetry records rapid reduction in gravitational load on officer's position approaching near-null state. Faint lightning-like filaments descend from unseen ceiling connecting silhouettes to platform. Filaments vibrating at frequency 19 Hz, known to induce fear. In hallucination, though, signal origin unidentifiable. At 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 57 seconds, central platform begins emitting pulse wave expanding outward, compressing chamber perimeter. Pulse interacts with filaments, producing cascading echo that registers briefly as fragmented English phrases, including return, again above. Yet speech analysis confirms multi-layered structure incapable of single speaker origin. Officer's silhouette begins to fade from telemetry intermittently, suggesting partial phase shift. During fades, outline reveals his second figure overlapping him perfectly, though slightly offset, as if shadow attempting to align with physical form. Pulses intensify. Chamber telemetry destabilizes into noise. At 2 hours, 51 minutes, and 20 seconds, a sudden reappearance of bodycam video shows officer standing alone in what appears to be abandoned utility corridor, unlit except for weak emergency strobes flickering at long, irregular intervals. Officer appears conscious but disoriented, repeating low whisper, "Not my, not my." Voice, though mouth movement minimal and audio mismatch, suggests phrase originates behind microphone rather than before it. Corridor floor bears fresh, wet footprints matching his boots, yet direction indicates he walked from deeper level never recorded on schematics. Body posture shows subtle delay between intention and motion, as if reflex latency increased. At 2 hours, 51 minutes, and 44 seconds, camera catches reflection in shattered panel to the right. Officer visible, but reflection lags 1 full second before. Imitating movement. Reflection's eyes remain fixed on lens even when officer looks away. He does not appear to notice. Reflection then smiles slightly, though officer's face remains neutral. Emergency strobe dies, leaving corridor in complete darkness for 0.8 seconds. When light returns, reflection gone, though panel surface shows new crack branching outward like impact from inside glass. Officer proceeds forward, seemingly guided by unknown cue. Camera sway consistent with dizziness. He passes. Maintenance door SL-04, which swings open without contact. Within room, faint breathing, audible, multiple overlapping cadences, none matching his. Camera briefly captures interior stacked with outdated uniforms, hanging in rows, though several appear occupied by invisible forms filling fabric contours. Uniforms turn slightly as he passes, like following motion. Officer's breathing accelerates. At 2 hours, 52 minutes, and 31 seconds, camera angle tilts sharply as if officer shoved sideways, though frame shows no assailant. Sudden Static burst overlays image, causing flicker of multiple officers' silhouettes occupying same corridor, each in different posture, some crawling, some standing motionless, one reaching toward camera lens with elongated arm before vanishing. Officer falls to knees, clutching head. Audio records layered whisper, repeating his badge number in descending tone. At 2 hours, 52 minutes, and 58 seconds, all sounds cease abruptly. Video clears to reveal officer standing upright, perfectly still, posture rigid, head slightly tilted in. Identical manner to upper tunnel figure previously observed. Flashlight turns on without hand movement, illuminating corridor ahead, now entirely free of debris, though earlier clutter should still be present. Floor dry. Walls restored. Strobe lights stable. Anomaly resembles environmental reset. Officer speaks final phrase. Exiting now, but voice flat, toneless, lacking natural cadence, and matching frequency profile of earlier mimicry layers. Bodycam then deactivates voluntarily. Final frame. Showing corridor empty except faint humanoid outline remaining after image on sensor despite no visible figure. Search teams located device outside facility, entrance 8 hours later placed neatly on ground facing sunrise. Officer has not been recovered. Facility remains sealed pending further structural and anomalous review, though internal mapping now inconsistent by several meters compared to pre-incident plans. Case remains active, classification pending.